So this is going to be the second video for chapter 27, the future perfect tense. Again, if you haven't already, please watch the Latin tutorial video over the future perfect tense. This is a very straightforward tense, and he shows you exactly where this is coming from and logically why it works. I'm a big fan of the future perfect because it is very straightforward and logical. People will tell you that we don't use it in English, but we technically do. And I'm also going to tell you that Dr. Cape will prefer you to translate this literally so that he knows that you understand that it's a future perfect. Sometimes that will make more sense than others, but please try to stick to as literal a translation as you can. So, for example, you've got this sentence. By now, Quintus will have reached Athens. I believe this is page 136 in your book. Yes. So will have reached is what is the future perfect verb, and it looks like this in Latin, advenerit. So you can kind of already tell you've got a future ending here with the erit and then your perfect stem. So this tense rare in English, okay, fine, is used to indicate an action completed in the future. It is commonly used in Latin sentences such as, when you will have arrived in Athens, you will study at the academy. Or if you will have seen my father, tell him everything. These two are your future perfect verbs. What they are conveying to you is that something needs to happen before this action in the future can happen. So you have to arrive in Athens before you can study at the academy. You have to see my father before you can tell him everything. So that future perfect is happening before your regular future tense verb. All you're going to do is take your perfect stem and add these endings to the verb. They look very similar like your just like your future forms of soon that we had on the page before. You've got aro, aris, arit, arimus, aritus, arunt. So arunt by itself is going to be they will be. Down here, instead of arunt, it's going to be arint because we already have arunt as an ending. So for first conjugation, you've got your principal part. Your third principal part is, remember, is going to be your perfect stem. So parawi is the third principal part for this verb. You're going to drop off the I and then add whatever ending from up here that you need according to the person. So I shall have prepared is going to be parav or ro. I shall have prepared. The second conjugation example is from monui. So they're dropping the I and adding the aro plus whatever other ending you need. I shall have warned. Third conjugation, rexi. Drop the I, add the aro. I shall have ruled. Third IO is a kepi, so you're dropping the I again, adding a row, I shall have taken. And finally, aodiwi, dropping the I, add the row, I shall have heard. So remember that you can find your principal parts in the dictionary entry of the verb. You're going to need the third principal part for these because that is your first person perfect verb. Okay. Okay, I've typed these out in a Word document again, so I want to get there so I can type and show you how this is working. I'm going to do the exercises in the back of the book that you don't have for homework. So here we go, 27.4. Okay, thank you. So we're going to translate these sentences 4, 5, and 6, and then we're going to translate the following verb forms. These are forms of posse. Okay, so let's find these verbs. Oh, look, fuerit. That looks weird. That's a verb. And then advenemus. That also looks kind of weird. They're probably some of our new kinds of verbs. Number 4, let's deal with fuerit first. What does this look like it might be to you? Do you remember your perfect forms of sum? Remember fuit? This is going to be your future perfect form of that. So fuerit will be if the teacher or the master or the boatsman, whomever, will have been wise or prudent, we will arrive at the harbor or at the port without danger. Okay, so fuerit is going to be your future perfect. Oh Lord, your future perfect. And your advenus is going to be your future. So this, the first part of the sentence, has to happen before this part. So this will be like the captain of the ship. So if the captain will have been wise, then in that case, we will arrive at the harbor without danger. And remember that this is a fourth conjugation verb, so you're looking for the two vowels together to indicate that it's future. So we will arrive. Number 5, here are our verbs. So same thing. Hopefully by now you're noticing this pattern. The future perfects happen often in sentences that have C or cum because you're having to set up some kind of situation. Getting ahead of myself. Okay, so number 5. If studuris, so if you will have studied diligently, you will learn much. Again, the future perfect has to happen first. Between that. Before the action in the future can happen. Here we've got a perfect stem. And then the aorist is our future ending. So if you will do this, if you will have done this, excuse me, you will do this. Again, discus is going to be a third conjugation verb. So you're changing the vowel, and that's how you know that it's future. You will learn much or many things. In number 6. Here you've got your perfect stem. You know that I needs to be included in the perfect stem. I can't tell if it is. Yes, okay. So what person is performing this action? If you have a row and bow at the ends of your verbs, it's going to be I. So when I will have returned home, I will tell everything to you. Again, the returning home has to happen before the telling can happen. So you've got a perfect stem with ready and then a future perfect ending with a row. Narabo is first conjugation. So it's just going to be a regular future. Remember, bo is your first person regular future ending. Okay, and just to highlight this, here is your stem, hui, hu, and then there's your perfect ending. I'm sorry, your future perfect ending. And the EI is how you know that one is future. And the E is how you know that one is future. Okay, 27.5, now I have forms of posse. Remember that posse means able, and it's irregular. So posse by itself is your infinitive, so this is just going to mean to be able. Remember your other irregular forms. For sum, you've got esse. So possum, posse is your infinitive. What else? You've got malo. Male is your infinitive. Wolo. Wele is your infinitive, and nolo. Nole is your infinitive there. So those are your irregulars, or some examples of your irregulars. Posent. You've got a present stem and sunt, which is just going to be present as well. So it's just a regular present verb. They are able. The NT makes it third person plural, they. Potuit. Okay, I've got potu, which is going to be my perfect stem. plus a regular perfect ending of IT. If I did all my endings out here, you would know that. So potui is your third principal part of that verb. So it's just perfect, third person perfect. He, she, or it has been able. Potaramus, you have to be careful here. Your stem here is going to be pot, and your ending is the aramus. If you've got the ERA, what tense is that going to be? Just going to be pluperfect. So she had been able. Or is that going to be imperfect? That's a great question, Miss Olson. Let's try and figure that out. Okay, so how would I figure that out if I'm not sure? What I could do is go to the reference grammar, which is what I'm doing right now. And all of these are going to be laid out for you. This is on page 159. So, oh look, my second guess of myself was correct. That is actually an imperfect form because the stem is just POT, which is present. So it's going to be imperfect. You've got pot plus aram. So she was able. Remember your imperfect forms of sum are going to be aram, aras, arat, aramus, aratus, arant. So that's how I know that that is going to be imperfect because the sum endings are always going to be the same tense for pot. Okay. And then finally you have potarimus. So what tense do you think that's going to be if you've got the aramus on the end of the verb as an ending? What does that look like to you? It looks like it's going to be the future of sum, right? So same deal as this. The aramus was imperfect of sum. Aramus is future of sum. So she will be able. If you're stuck on something like this that looks like this, go ahead and please check out your irregular verb chart on page 159. That will help you. They've laid out the conjugations of sum, possum, and eo, which means go. And then on the next page, they also have wolo, nobo, malo, and baro, which can be very helpful because sometimes it's hard to ascertain where those verbs come from if you don't remember how to conjugate them. So check that out if you're stuck on a verb and you can't find it in the glossary. Okay, that concludes those assignments. If you have any questions, please send me an email or give me a call. This week we'll do class on Tuesday and or Thursday. Please come to at least one of them. If you would like to come to both of them, that's totally fine. And I will see you hopefully next week.